Hey, ladies, and welcome to the Girl Boss Method. So, tonight's call is all about building and breaking habits. And I think this is a really important topic. And again, it was one that was submitted in the check ins. And I think it's a really important one because a lot of what we do when it comes to health and fitness is really habit based and mindset based. And it's not just as simple as going, these are the things that you need to do and to go and do them. And again, a lot of the time it's because we've got previous belief systems, habits that we've built up over time, and maybe even some like fear built up around this as well. So we're going to kind of dive into some really positive things to help your mindset and your daily actions shape your results. So before I move on, um, I wanted to kind of frame a little bit about habits and how that kind of creates or can affect your identity. I think it's really important to there's two ways to kind of look at this. There's a way of looking at things and going, my habits, I feel connected to them. And there's also on the flip side, which can sound rather contradictory to this statement, is that you don't equal your habits. And I want you to kind of think about that because habits are something that we do and they do not equal who we are, but they, in terms of how we use them, they can help create or shape our identity and our future selves as well. So thinking about this again and some really cool, I absolutely love reading books that are based around like mindset. And I think it's really important to think about mindset and think about the way that the brain operates or does things. Um, and then creating that connection to understand that like a habit is not this thing that is just stuck to us and that because it's us that we can't break free from this. So it's almost thinking about it from the perspective of adopting the habits and also breaking them as well. You can do them at any point. Okay. And that's what I really want you to feel empowered by watching this video and doing some of the things that we're going to work through. So here are some really cool quotes. The Little Book of Big Change is a book literally centered around belief systems and habit. And I thought this quote was quite nice that you're not broken, you're already whole. And when we're thinking about this quote, it's and kind of interpreting that, it's understanding that these habits, they shouldn't actually start with any sort of pressure or punishment. They should start with clarity, compassion, and yeah, identity. So I think it's really important to kind of pull that back in as well and rein that back in. And I really like this one because I think this one's a really good one for those of you that are willing and ready to take action and literally change your lives again through the power of your mindset. And if you've read these books as well, then you'll kind of relate to some of the stuff here. But also, if you haven't, I think if it's if everyone has their choices or their likes or dislikes when it comes to books, but I really like books that are around self-help. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This one really does hit hard because again, we kind of think, oh, there's this goal that I want to achieve. Again, this goal can have feelings of fear centered around it, and it can have feelings of disbelief because you haven't yet reached the goal, and it can feel overwhelming because you've not got there, you don't know what it looks like, you're not sure what it's going to feel like. And I know that we can use things like visualization to help us, but breaking it down and taking it down a level and understanding that we fall to the level of our systems, it's actually all the small things that we do, the things that we create or do to create our systems that are going to help get us the outcome of the goal itself. Yes. So I want you to kind of think about these sort of identity-based habits and think about who you are becoming. So you can take a few moments to, pause and write these things down, and or maybe even just like, yeah, write the beginning of this sentence down. I'm a woman who, and then I want you to sort of use this area to kind of frame your habits by choosing some identity first change, right? So I'm a woman who fuels her body, moves daily, follows through, and chooses rest over chaos. I think these are really important, but again, these don't need to be the ones that you focus on. These are just some really cool and great ideas about how we can kind of change that becoming, right, of who we want to be. So it might be one of these, or it could be something like, I am I am a woman that gets up 5 minutes earlier and takes the first 5 minutes of the day to do an action. So whether that's sort of stretch or read or something, okay? And then also I really like these ones that, follows through. Again, you've made the commitment to doing something, to wanting to change, and you're actually going to follow through that with some action. You're not a woman that gives up. You're a woman that follows through. And then also here is like a difficult one, because this is about creating acceptance and not trying to kind of do everything and win everything all at once, or win the year all at once, and actually understanding when you truly need rest, right? So if everything's a little bit chaotic, just chill out and just take a back seat and just really choose rest. Rest is so important. Again, you'll know when things are chaotic, and you'll actually know when you're making excuses. So just learn to kind of understand or recognize those things as well. So this is the habit loop, and this is taken from Atomic Habits. So every habit, whether it's good or it's bad, it kind of follows this pattern. And the goal is to kind of become aware of our loops and almost like rewire them to help support us. So it's again, it's not just I've just got to do this habit and that's it. There's got to be some sort of connection to the thing that you're trying to achieve. Um, yeah, hopefully that kind of makes sense, right? Cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. Okay. So I want you to kind of take a few moments to work on a bit of reflection time here. So you can pause again this video and then write these few things down. So I want you to kind of think about where you are right now. Again, this is, could be two ends of that spectrum. What is the habit that is helping you lately? What's one thing that you're actually doing that is actually helping you and getting you closer to what you're doing? And what's the one thing that's slowing you down? Like, take a few moments to really think about that. And just kind of taking it back, actually, I wanted to take it back a step again to, the, I wanted to take it, I wanted to take it back again to this slide here. So again, just thinking about this again as a revisit. So the cue is something that kind of triggers the craving. and that leads to a response. So how we act, and then again that results in the reward. So just sort of really understanding how that loop is crucial. Right, we're going to move forward again. So this is another framework that kind of it's again from Atomic Habits, and it's outlining these 4 laws that are sort of there to help create the good habits and sort of breaking the bad habits. Okay. Um, so again, breaking these down and applying them to your next habit, the one that you do want to have. So we want to think about making it obvious. So what is it that you want to do? What's the thing that you want to do? And then how can we make it attractive? How can we make it something that's really easy as well? And how can we make it something that's satisfying so it doesn't feel like this thing that's a bit of a drag or a bore? So let's kind of take the example of water. I think water's a really simple one to kind of work on. So you might want to say something like, I, you know, I want to drink some water, right? How am I going to make it attractive? I'm going to have it in a nice bottle, right? Something that's like a nice color, right? So maybe it might be blue, for example. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to fill up that bottle and put it next to me when I'm working. How can I make it satisfying? Maybe you add something fun to it. So you can add like some fruit to that thing. And then yeah, just thinking about some more examples around that as well. And then when we're thinking about building our actual habit and the activity that we want to do and what we want to create. So maybe we want to again relate this to perhaps like movement. So let's start with, as like a 7-day plan. So I want you to kind of think about what's your mini habit. Now, your mini habit might be, again, you can pause, come up with your own ideas here, but your mini habit might be, I need to get 2 sessions in a week, right? And then I want you to think about when and where you will do it. So in terms of when and where you will do it, maybe for you it's actually ensuring that you get it done in the gym. So it's those 2 sessions that you're going to get in at the gym. So you could say that you're going to do it on a Monday so that you can hashtag never miss a Monday in the group, and you're going to do it on a Thursday. So that's your sort of when and where you're going to do it. And what will be your cue? Your cue might be something like, again, maybe it's on that Monday and that Thursday, it might be a lunchtime. And maybe that means that for that cue, you have a Google Calendar and you stick it in your diary like you would any other habit. And you just, the alarm goes off and you make sure you do it. And then in terms of like tracking it, again, you can log this in app. Again, you can use your Google Calendar and you can have it there. You can print off a tracker or even just get like a piece of paper and stick it somewhere. Maybe stick it on a post-it note on the Monday or the Thursday, and at the beginning of the day when you have a look at your list of the actions and the things that you need to do that day, you'll kind of put it on there and you'll say, these are the things that I need to do, and then track it, you log it, and then also you'll stick it in the group again. Yeah, or you'll tick it off. So that's kind of like the building of a habit. And I want us to kind of think more about the like breaking of habits. So you want to make it invisible and you want to make it unattractive and you want to make it hard and unsatisfying. So with this, you're like reversing the law. So if you've got a habit that you want to reduce or replace, you want to try and apply one or more of these things. So by making it invisible, it might be related to food. So it might be these biscuits, right? You've got these biscuits, they're in a cupboard, and maybe they're literally by the coffee machine or they're very accessible. So if you want to make it invisible, A, you could just not buy them. B, you could put them in a place where you can't see them. And when you go and get your cup of coffee, they're not visible to you, they're somewhere else. And then you can make it unattractive. So you could almost like relate it to the fact that when you have that thing, maybe it doesn't make you feel, again, it's like feel very nice. I feel like these all are all kind of interlinked, really, because it could also be unsatisfying in that sense as well. But, there could be, if I have this thing, maybe relating it to, a feeling of how you might feel. Like, again, if this is where journaling can come in. And after you have something, how does it make you feel? I mean, is it something where when you're having the biscuit, it means that you're having all of them at once? Um, Again, what is it? Is it, in a sort of a binge scenario that you kind of find yourself in? And then, yeah, just make it hard. Maybe put it somewhere that if you are going to keep, because I'm all about inclusive, being inclusive when it comes to diet, maybe make it hard in a sense of, yeah, just don't buy it, but also maybe even portion it out for the week and go, I'm going to have this like one cookie. There's like 10 cookies in a packet, and I'm not going to buy any for the next 10 days. So that means I'm going to have one each day. Um, yeah, maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know how that makes it unattractive, but maybe you can think of a better example. Yeah, right. So in terms of like replacing and the rewiring, so again, instead of just like deleting it and removing it, you can try and replace it. So you want to think about what your trigger is, or the cue, the thing that kind of leads you to go towards that thing. What can you kind of break or remove that stops you going for that thing? What's the alternative habit that you could associate instead? And what can you do to help keep yourself accountable? So, with this, we're not just deleting it, we're kind of replacing it. And again, if you're not sort of just understanding, you're not actually failing if you do slip up, but it's just understanding and learning some of these like patterns over time. So let's say, for example, you have your cup of coffee and it's typically when you go and grab a cookie. Maybe, and then, one leads to another. Maybe it might be something where you go, I'm going to replace that and I'm going to have it with these protein muffins that I've baked. So you might have these muffins. That's a good habit, that you bake these protein muffins, and these have to be warmed up, so you've got to stick them in the oven to like warm them up, and you keep them in the freezer. So you've got to go through the whole thing of, maybe you have to like defrost them each day. So maybe again, this could kind of come back and work. I feel like I'm having a brainwave here. I feel like this could kind of come back in terms of like making it hard, making the habit that you want to break hard. So we could replace that with like a mini muffin. You could bake these, you could portion them out. You know what the macros are in them. You stick them in the freezer. They're in the freezer, but obviously to eat them, you have to like defrost them or something. So it means that you've got to take it out in the morning. Maybe you might put that next to your cup of tea or your cup of coffee that you have. And you've made it hard because you've got to go and turn the bloody oven on to go and have it. And or the oven or the air fryer or whatever it is, you still have to take that action. I feel like there was another one that actually I thought of before when we've kind of talked about this topic is, I don't know if you've heard of the little the ice cream balls, the Moochies. So they'll come in like a packet, and you'll get like 6 or 8 in a packet, and they live in the freezer, but you can't eat them straight away. You have to wait 5 minutes before you can eat one because you're just gonna like kill your teeth. It would just be like biting into ice. So they do have to go a little bit soft. So again, you can create some rules around that and go, well, I'm going to have this thing. I have to stick it on a plate and I have to wait for it for 5 minutes. So again, that could be something where we've made it difficult, for example. And then in terms of like holding yourself accountable, putting it in the group, telling us what it is that you need to kind of break. What's the thing that you need to get out of? What do you need help with from me or the ladies? What is the alternative habit? Maybe there's something that you've been thinking about that you want to break, but it's not been a great, maybe I've not given great examples and you want my feedback on this. So stick it in the group and we can come up with some alternatives for you. And then in terms of holding you accountable, you can put it in the group so that we can come back to it and go, right, this is the thing that you're going to do. Have you done this? And yeah, just kind of using the group for that as well. So I want us to kind of think about maybe a little mini challenge that we could try this week is having a sort of 7-day habit commitment of some sort. I want you to kind of think of the one habit to build. So the task that we did earlier where you were thinking about what you wanted to build and the one you wanted to break or reduce. And I want you to think about tracking this somewhere or sharing it within the group as well for accountability. So again, this could be if we relate it back to the water, because that's a cool habit to kind of do. You could go, right, hi everyone, for accountability, I am going to take a picture of my water and let's say it's the beginning of the day and it's 8 a.m. and you take a picture, you put it in the group as your water and say, by 10 o'clock, I'm going to take another picture of this, stick it in the group, and I'm going to be halfway done. Maybe that might be the thing that we need to kind of hold you accountable for. Or it could be the fact that maybe even if we're looking at a step goal, it could be hardly move all day, gets to like 5 o'clock and oh crap, I've only done 4K or 2K steps or something. It could be that you say, right, by midday, I need to make sure that I've hit my first mini target in terms of steps. So maybe that might be 3K steps by midday. I need to get 3K steps by midday. How are you going to do that? Again, you could make sure you get out that bit earlier. So you could, do a 15-minute walk at the beginning of your day instead of kind of like dragging yourself out of bed and in the shower and go and get ready and whatever. Not, you could kind of get up 5 or 10 minutes earlier, and before you kind of turn the coffee machine on or put the kettle on for a cup of tea or a coffee, you go, right, first thing I've got to do, stick my trainers on and I've got to walk around the block. So you just go, right, I'm going to walk around the block. I'm going to get that first action. I'm going to take that first action, take that first step to go and get these steps in. And again, these, the things that I can help you with as well. And I want you to really share the stuff that you do want to break and the stuff that you do want to build. And I think that's what's going to help us tackle these. I want you to share them in the group. And then this is the accountability. I could put more of those little check boxes up. So we do those little polls, a couple of times a week, but maybe these could be centered around something more specific, especially if you find that most of us have got some very shared habits that we kind of want to build or we want to break or reduce. We can share some polls and we can kind of see how you move along. So moving along with the step goal, moving along with the water goal. Again, we can have that never miss a Monday in the group on a Monday, which has been going really well. Maybe we could have something in there for a Thursday just to make sure that you've ensured that by Thursday you've got that second session in at least. And yeah, I think this is a thing. It's got to fit around your lifestyle. And I get that work can throw things in the mix and it can make things really like difficult. So we have to be realistic in that respect. But especially if a lot of this is relating to feelings and fears or mindset based around this habit, I think it's really important that we honor the fact that we have a choice and that we can make a choice. And I also want to take it back to the fact that I was saying that our habits, they we do not, your habit is not you, it's not personal. It's something that your brain does. And I think that's what I want you to kind of remember. It's something that your brain is doing because it knows to just do it. Okay. So again, taking it back to this habit loop, again, let's say that you've got this cue, that you've got the coffee there, and oh yeah, okay, coffee, that's my cue to go into the biscuit cupboard and grab a biscuit. Oh, I'm craving that, right? Oh, I've got it. And then, maybe internally your body feels like satisfied or rewarded in some ways. So again, how do we kind of break that? I think the fact that we can replace it is a really good thing that we can do. Again, we can make it hard. We can move those cookies or not buy them. We can portion them out. We can make sure that again, if it's a pack of 7 cookies, that you've got to have one each day. Otherwise you're not going to get any at all. And you can also think about how you might feel if you ate all 7 at once. And I actually do want to take it back to one of the books that I did mention, which was the Little Book of Big Change, because within this book, there's definitely something that I really liked in terms of perspective. There was this sort of voice that you have up there in your brain. You've got your good cop, bad cop going on. But within this book, they talk about the sort of the higher level, or the higher thought, the more intelligent thought process of your brain, of recognizing, and this sort of other very low level. And the low level is pretty much doing stuff that's not going to allow you to kind of elevate yourself, right? And this higher level is having that sort of awareness and that almost that reawakening of saying, do you know what? Those low level habits that I'm doing, those really annoying, stupid things that I'm doing, those things that I don't want to be part of my identity, they're not serving me. And it's knowing that your higher level recognizes that you are not those habits, that you are above them. And just sort of having that perspective. And again, if this means that maybe you need to change your bedtime read or your bedtime habits, breaking away from any sort of social media late at night, having that time to kind of actually taking time for you. And I know that work gets in the way and kids get in the way and life gets in the way and there's all this stuff you've got to catch up with. Just knowing that when we're thinking about filling our cup, that it all comes down to, from the baseline, it comes down to really supporting the systems. It's supporting your sleep. It's supporting the time for you. It's so important that you take time out for yourself. Otherwise, just everything's just going to fall down, right? So if you don't fix you, if you don't look after you, how can you look after others? Or how can you look after the other things that you're required or you're responsible for? So really cool book that I think you should definitely have a look at. And yeah, take some time to read in the evenings. I know it's like not as attractive as Netflix. But what's that doing? What sort of purpose is that serving to your life? And maybe even thinking about some of the habits that you want to break, maybe even thinking about how does that relate to my identity and the person that I want to become? And the person that I want to become, what sort of actions do they take? Where are they? What do they do? What do they surround themselves with? What sort of, what do their habits look like? And becoming that newer identity, and rather than kind of like, oh my God, I'm here and this is it and this is who I am and I can't break free, just sort of having that mindset to kind of elevate in that sense. Hopefully this was helpful and it wasn't a complete waffle fest. But yeah, if you found this valuable, ladies, please let me know. Let me know in the group that you've listened to this. Reach out to me. Let me know that you've listened to this. It'll be great to get your feedback on it. Find out if you found it valuable or if you feel like there are some missing links and there's some more clarity or there's some more sort of deeper work that you feel like we need to do, I just want to remind you that mindset is a massive pillar of what we do. But it's, again, it's the understanding, the commitment to change. If we want change and if we want to adopt the lifestyle change, the fitness and the nutrition, these are all things that are going to help improve your life. They're going to make you a better person and they're going to help you win. And I want to see you win. So thank you and see you next time. Bye.